Only Muslims could provide the formula for the paper on which this book was written. And we know exactly how the Moors did it. In the Spanish city of Valencia, the Paper Museum recreates the methods used to make the first paper in Europe. Linen, hemp, and cotton are the cheap raw materials for the manufacture of paper. Moorish illustrators demonstrate the production methods in a 1,000-year-old instruction manual. They use stamping boards to break down the plants into a mass of fibers, and then they add water. After stirring, fine sieves skim the liquid, and the result is an even layer the size of a sheet of paper. Each sheet is laid onto a separate piece of felt to dry. The press removes the last traces of fluid from the pile of felt and paper. Papermaking originated in China. But true to form, the Arabs discovered new raw materials and pressing and milling techniques that made mass production possible. Paper is light, inexpensive, and can be used anywhere. Scribes use it to reproduce the caliph's orders to his administration. Messengers speed the ruler's will to distant corners of the empire. Laws, taxes, proclamations can be applied everywhere at the same time. But paper doesn't only serve as the stamp of authority. It's the universal carrier of knowledge. Something Resamont, Bishop of Granada in southern Spain, knows very well. In the 10th century, he orders a book to be made out of paper that will record the technological wonders of the age, the Calendar of Cordoba. Illustrations bring to life the great machines of the region before the reader's eyes. Mills, the heavy machinery of the Middle Ages. The new mills designed by the Arabs are bigger and more efficient than anything seen before. These are milestones of technology. The Islamic Empire now stretches from east to west over 6,000 kilometers and 3 continents. By comparison, the fledgling Christian kingdom of the Franks to the northwest in today's France and Germany is small, primitive, and backward. But in the year 800, the Frankish king Charlemagne proclaims his Holy Roman Empire. The somber imperial headquarters, the cathedral at Aachen, can't compare with the great Islamic palaces and mosques. But the founding of this empire marks the beginning of a change that will bring the Christian West glories it has not known since Rome. Christians rule in northern Europe, but they dream of Jerusalem, their holy city. 500 years before, Christians found a cave in a Jerusalem quarry that they believe is the tomb of their Savior, Jesus. They build a memorial over the site. Over the centuries, the monument will grow into a mighty complex, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Long after Muslims have conquered Jerusalem, this is still the holiest place for Christians. They throng to Christ's tomb, bringing gifts. Until the year 1009, when Muslim fundamentalists plunder the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and burn it to the ground. Christians and Jews are cut off from their most sacred shrines. For Christians, it's an atrocity and a provocation. By 1099, the French and German crusaders are standing before Jerusalem's walls. They storm the holy city. Jerusalem is home to Muslims, Jews, and Christians. The knights can't tell them apart. God will recognize his own is their battle cry. The massacre lasts 3 days. 30,000 people lie dead. This orgy of violence sees the beginning of the Christian occupation of the Middle East. Events that have stained relations between Islam and the West ever since. It is 90 years before a Kurdish general restores Muslims' sense of identity and self-confidence. Saladin. Saladin is commander of the armies of Damascus. After the ruler dies, he takes over. In 1187, he leads the united forces of Islam in a great battle against the Crusaders. At Hattin, the warriors from Europe, once thought to be invincible, are defeated. His success in battle makes Saladin a hero to all Muslims. Saladin's mausoleum in Damascus becomes a place of pilgrimage for those who still dream of a lost golden age of Islam. Saladin reconquers Jerusalem. The Dome of the Rock becomes the symbol of Muslim control over the holy city. Saladin spares the leaders of his Christian enemies. A king does not kill a king, he says. Now, a monarch appears from the West who will do the unheard of, negotiate with Islam. A Christian emperor, but one who has taken up Islamic habits, like falconry. Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II. The first European monarch who chooses to learn from Islam. Frederick II rules his sprawling realm from southern Italy. The Kingdom of Sicily has come under his control by marriage. But for a long time, Muslim Saracens left their mark on this land. To the Saracens that have remained, the emperor shows generosity and political savvy. He settles the Muslims in the garrison town of Lucera, and he turns them into his most loyal soldiers. It's a rare kind of tolerance. Frederick takes a pragmatic approach to the struggle for Jerusalem. He sets out to negotiate. He may never really have played chess with the Sultan of Cairo, but the agreement he obtains free access for Christians to pilgrimage sites in the Holy Land is a fact. A crusade of reconciliation without bloodshed. His very success makes him an anathema to many fellow Christians. They see Frederick the Peacemaker as the spawn of the devil. Nothing less than a monster threatening Christendom. A 13th century visionary. His southern Italian empire has absorbed the legacy of the Orient. It's a legacy from the centers of Arab Islamic culture. Damascus and Baghdad had accumulated ancient Persian, Indian, and Chinese knowledge. In the 12th and 13th centuries, this knowledge reached the West via Italy and Spain. Naples, and above all Toledo in Spain, are the bridges for the transfer of knowledge. The legacy of the Orient leads to a great leap forward for the West. The Renaissance ushers in Europe's golden age. Florence in northern Italy is one of its centers. A surge that encompasses the whole of Europe, building on the foundations of the achievements of the Orient. Navigational instruments through which the heavens could be explored. The Arabic and Indian numbering systems with which Europe would henceforth do its mathematics. Muslim medicine and surgical instruments revolutionizing the healing arts in Europe. Oriental fruits and spices enriching European cuisine. Paper as the basis of knowledge and its dissemination. While the mill becomes the heavy machinery of the modern age. And at this very moment, Islam is threatened by a new enemy from the East. The Mongols, savage warriors from the steppes, sweeping in from the endless plains of Central Asia. Their 13th century leaders, the Khans, build them into a fearsome and unpredictable force. In 1258, they attack and take Baghdad. The chronicles tell of appalling brutality. Hundreds of thousands perish in the battles and their aftermath. The conquerors build pyramids of skulls. And knowledge, too, is a victim of this orgy of destruction.
The assault of the Mongols was a terrible blow. The complete destruction of Baghdad and other cities. The lands of the eastern Fertile Crescent, between the Tigris and the Euphrates, were laid waste for centuries. The West had reached such a low point, culturally and scientifically. But it was prepared to develop. It was open to new